Hello and welcome to the 2021 Golf Summer Series info and schedule reveal video. Now, of course, you remember a couple weeks ago on the channel, I announced that the Summer Series would be returning this May. And of course, this video was supposed to come out last week. However, I had to delay it due to some finishing touches that they made to the overall series and the schedule and everything like that. But today, I'm ready to reveal some more information about the series and what to expect. So without further ado, let's get this thing started. So starting off with some basic info for this summer, just like last year, we'll be using the same mod, the NASCAR Pennies 2017 mod by Splash and Go, and one car per person, and choose any number from 0 to 99, and any car make. Any of the car makes listed there: Chevy, Ford, Dodge, and now Pontiac. So that's a new car make. We're going to see in the next slide how these cars look. Once signups are closed, they are closed. So once the 35 driver quota has been filled, no one else can sign up. The Google form, which I'll show y'all in a second, will automatically close and no one else can sign up. And if someone does get kicked or banned, which happens quite often now, I don't know why, the team owner decide who would take over that ride. You can use your real name or alias, doesn't really matter. No impersonation. Don't use someone else's name without their consent. Don't use like a celebrity's name. I don't really like doing that. You can have teams. You can have up to 5 teammates, much like last summer, as well as in the winter street stocks. And the driver rings, just like last year, will be set to 96 for everything. So here are the car makes. We've got the Chevy Impala returning from last year. The Dodge Challenger, which not many people had last year. I mean, literally one person had the Dodge Challenger last year, which kind of surprised me. And then you got the Ford Fusion also returning last year, trying to defend its title after Kellen Baker won the Summer Series Championship last year. And the Pontiac G6. This is one I'm really looking forward to. I kind of miss Pontiac, even though I was not really around when they were in NASCAR. They still had great looking cars. It kind of sucks GM shut them down back in 2009. So I got some more info here. Much like last summer, you can have up to 2 paint schemes and sponsors per driver. Now, if you're a painter, you could have another associate sponsor if you want. I don't really care. But for everyone else, only 2 paint schemes and sponsors per driver, not counting special paint schemes. Be present for at least one premiere or leave at least one comment for a race. Now, like I said last year, you don't have to show up to every single race, every single lap. I mean, we have other things to do in life. But at least keep up the series somewhat, because, you know, you're signing up for this to begin with, so you should at least keep up with it. The AI difficulty will be set at 105 and 110 at super speedways, and at super speedways, we're going to have also the adaptive speed control turned on as well. Of course, respect painters and be patient for your car. Again, maybe shocking, but us painters have life besides just painting paint schemes. We get busy quite often. So please just be patient with your cars. The painters will get to your cars and it will look great, so just please be patient. You can use your races in your own videos, but be sure to credit me. So if you want to make like a fan-made sort of promo video, or like promote that you're in the series or whatever, you can use my races in your own videos, but be sure to credit me, like in the description below. Say, oh, I made this race or whatnot. And have sponsor schedules done before the season. Now, much like and these sponsor schedules will be very, very important for a lot of people. For the painters, they can tell which car they need to paint first. Like, say for instance, some drivers running one sponsor in the first race, then another sponsor for the second race. The painter will know what sponsor to have painted before the first race. So the points format will be the 2011 to 2015 Xfinity / Trucks points, much like in the last year's Summer Series and in the Winter Street Stocks. No playoffs. No playoffs. I don't do that playoffs junk here. 35 max drivers, much like last year. And the drivers are required to join the official Discord server. That'll be linked down below, and also to follow the rules, which aren't really that hard to follow. And of course, you can be removed, fined, / suspended if the rules are broken, which again, I don't think should be hard to do, but we have people doing it regardless. So special scheme info. Much like last year in the Summer Series, you can request a special paint scheme for Daytona in July or Darlington in September. This is completely optional. You don't have to have a patriotic scheme for Daytona or a throwback for Darlington. And the deadline for to submit your special paint scheme for both races for Daytona will be on June 27th, while Darlington will be on August 29th, so about a week before the respective races. So be sure to have those ready by those due dates. And now below this is actually something new. You can actually use your patriotic paint scheme at Charlotte if you want to, if it's made by then. Now, what I mean by this is that, say if someone requests a paint scheme for Daytona, right? But by the time Charlotte comes around, it's ready to go. You can if you want, you can use that paint scheme at Charlotte for the Roval. But do not rush out the patriotics for Charlotte. Take your time. Take your time with the patriotics. Don't rush them out for Charlotte. Have them ready by Daytona. And for this, if you're a returning driver and you want to use like your patriotic scheme from last year at Charlotte, feel free to. Just let me know. But do not rush out the paint schemes for Charlotte. Just take your time. Have it ready by Daytona. And every driver at Daytona or Charlotte will have a patriotic banner regardless if they have a patriotic paint scheme or not. So all the cars were pretty cool and patriotic and American, I guess. Now we got some new things, of course, going on this summer. All GSS owners will compete in the owner standings, so this is going to be brand new for this year. Now I got a lot of questions during the Winter Street Stocks owner signups with, hey, can I be an owner if I'm not a driver? For that series, I said no. But starting for the summer series this summer, even if you're not a driver, you can still be an owner and will compete in the owners standings, and that'll be based off the 2011 owners point standings, so that'll be just like the main summer series driver standings or whatnot. So I'll be shorter schedule, and it'll be shorter races than before compared to last year. Just make it easier for me to make these races on a constant basis without making my sanity go insane. And if this is your first summer series season, your car will be required to have rookie stripes, and will compete for Rookie of the Year. So it'll be sort of a Rookie of the Year standings that'll be tallied this year. There'll be rookie stripes also included in the templates, and also a lot more. Now, if you're a returning driver, first off, welcome back. Glad to see you back here in the Summer Series. The 2020 Summer Series champion, which is, of course, Calvin Baker, and the 2020 to 2021 Winter Street Stocks champion will have reserves. So what I'm going to do, if you're a champion from the past two series, a couple days before the actual signups, I'll send you the Google form via Discord, and you can fill it out by then. You can use your paint scheme from last year if you want to, so if you don't want to have a brand new paint scheme, just want to reuse the one from last year, be sure to let me know when you're filling out the sign-up form. I'll update it to the new template and everything like that. And this is the big reason why I still stick with the pennies mod, because all the paint schemes from last year still age pretty decently, and people may still want to use them, and I want to give people that option to do so. You can also stay in the same teams as last year. Just be sure to fill out the team sign-up form, as I mentioned. And you do not have to use the same name as before. So if you want to change your name to, say, your alias to your real name, feel free to. You don't have to use the same name. Now, in terms of the branding from last year compared to this year, last year, of course, had the powder blue background with the orange and black stripe. This summer has a white background with a blue and orange stripe, as you can see kind of in the top corner already, as well as in the thumbnail. And this kind of matches the modern Golf branding on their website and everything like that. Last year's tagline is, of course, this is summer, but this year's tagline is, of course, back to summer. And, of course, the older colors and taglines will still be used occasionally. I'm doing this mainly just to differentiate from last year and this year, just so people won't be confused and everything like that. So, there's some differences there with the branding. And, of course, also this will apply to the thumbnail as well. You can see on the top is last year's thumbnail for Daytona. Pretty basic there with the orange and black stripe. But this year we have a new thumbnail, and I actually really do like it. This kind of goes with Golf's modern branding with their gas stations and everything like that. Different font, of course, and the race wall goes on the left-hand corner instead of the right-hand corner, because that usually gets covered up by the timestamp. And now here's the fun part: the 2021 Golf Summer Series schedule. This is the schedule that's been almost a full year in development, and I'm happy to show it off here today. So the first race is actually going to be an exhibition race at Auto Club Speedway for the first ever Summer Series Spring Showdown. And that will happen on April 11th, which is my spring break. And of course, Auto Club, this year was supposed to be Auto Club's final year before I got converted to the short track, but COVID, of course, had to change that. But I'll still go to Auto Club this year. I saw the logo made and so I have everything planned out. Of course, Auto Club's a 2-mile-long, bumpy, D-shaped oval, kind of like Michigan and Texas World. And we're going to have 22 laps, so this is going to be a really short race. Now, in terms of driver eligibility for the Spring Showdown, winners from last year's Summer Series, winners from this year's Winter Street Stocks, and of course the Street Stocks and Summer Series champions will be eligible. And the paint scheme deadline for the Showdown drivers will be on April the 4th. Now, in terms of what scheme you want to use, preferably let it be your primary for this year. You can use last year's if you want to. And if you're a painter, you can make a special paint scheme if you want, but preferably, I highly recommend to people to use their primaries for this year for the Spring Showdown. Now, as for the actual Summer Series points races, that will begin on May 9th at Armory Digital, once again, again the season opener. for the Costco Wholesale 400, benefiting Mental Health America. Kind of a cool logo I made there. And of course, Armor Digital was the most viewed race of last year. Had a great finish with Richard Herman and Aiden Thomas, of course. Hoping that will happen again this year. As you may notice, this is actually a bit of a shorter race compared to last year. 36 laps versus 41 laps. Again, it's part of the changes I'm making to the schedule to make the races overall easier for me to make. So then race number 2, we head to one of our first new tracks on the schedule, the Mexico City Oval for the Coca-Cola Made in Mexico 500K. So if you remember, about a month or so ago, I had to vote for which track I want to see in the future series. This, Dover, Milwaukee Mile, and Pikes Peak, I believe, were some of the options available. Gateway was also another option. This ended up winning, so this will be on the Summer Series schedule. May 16th, race number 2, of course. 36 laps, 1 mile long. And, of course, NASCAR did race here in the Busch Series back in, the early to mid-2000s before stopping in 2008. But the Summer Series, we're bringing it back here, so that's going to be pretty cool. Then we head to race number 3 at Texas World Speedway. This is a returning track from last year. Texas World was in July last year. However, it will be moved up to May, just before Memorial Day, because the Texas heat in July is just unbearable. Even I've never been there, but I'm pretty sure most people in Texas can agree. The heat is terrible there in July. But Texas World had a very solid race last year, so I had to keep in the schedule. 38 laps, 2 miles long, of course, and definitely want to look forward to for the Buc-ee's 350. And then race number 4, we head to our first Crown Jewel of the year at the Charlotte Roval for the Bank of America Roval 300, returning from last year. This was another race that was moved up from July to May, and of course, and this will happen, of course, on May 29th, Memorial Day weekend. Which is why we're allowing patriotic paint schemes for this race if they're made at the time. So again, do not rush for those patriotic paint schemes just for Charlotte. Have them ready by Daytona. Then after that, race number 5, we head to the Myrtle Beach Speedway for our first midweek race of the season for the Denny's 400. This is another returning track from last year. That will happen on June 3rd. Really a shame what happened to this track in real life. Thanks a lot, Karens, for complaining about noise, even though you built your house next to a racetrack. I just don't get it. Whatever. And then race number 6, we head to another new track on the schedule, as well as another short track on the schedule, the Steelback Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, for the PP&G 400. That will happen on June 7th, and this is actually a pretty obscure track. I don't really see that many NR people use. This is actually available on Sonar Racing's website. And the racing I tested here so far was pretty good. The racing seemed very competitive and actually close. You can actually use the bump and run, like most short tracks in NR 2003. So hopefully that can translate this year in the Summer Series. Then race number 7, another Crown Jewel at Talladega for the Geico 500, another track returning from last year. And this other race that's been shortened down too. Last year it was 47 laps. Now it's down to 42 laps a little bit. So not all that shorter, but still hopefully easier for me to make. And then race number 8, another new track for another midweek race. Watkins Glen. I honestly don't know why I didn't add Watkins Glen last year. This replaces Sonoma. I kind of missed NASCAR going to Watkins Glen last year, and I'm glad to go not only returning this year, but also we're going to go here this year in the Summer Series. And that will happen on June 15th. Currently, the sponsor for that race is Exalta. And the race number 9, Rockingham Speedway for the Pop Secret 350. Pretty underrated race in my opinion last year, and lap count for this one will remain the same, and will happen on June 19th. After that is our first bye week of the season. Now, if you remember, last year's bye week was the week of June 19th, but for this summer, it'll actually be after June 19th. And of course, one of the reasons why I'm doing this bye week is number 1, keep my sanity kind of calm during this season, and also number 2, to prepare patriotic paint schemes for race number 10, the Firecracker 400 return into Daytona. I already announced this about a week or 2 ago in the Discord server. So this is not really surprising. I also did announce there'll be single car qualifying broadcast for this race, so definitely stay tuned for that. And as for the track version, I'm not really sure if I want to use Daytona Rising, which is the one I used last year, or the new Daytona BBMC 2020 night version. I'm kind of split because on one hand, the Daytona Rising one, I have an INI specifically set for that track, and it runs better on my computer. But on the other hand, BB&C is a brand new one, and it looks a lot better than the other Daytona Rising one. But currently, right now, I'm leaning towards using Daytona Rising Night. But we'll have to wait and see come Daytona time. We'll have to see how it is. And of course, that'll be on July 4th. Then race number 11, we head to the Chicagoland Speedway for our first day-to-night race of the season for the Hyatt Regency 400. Chicagoland was one of the better viewed races from last year, and also kind of a shame that it got dropped off the Cup Series schedule for this year. But it'll still be on the Summer Series schedule last year, keeping the same lap count, and that will happen on July 10th. Then race number 12, Lucas Oil Speedway. Then after that, race number 12, Lucas Oil Raceway Park for the Kroger 350. Now, of course, last year this was the finale for the Summer Series by moving it up to July, because I think another track suits the finale a lot more better. No disrespect for Lucas Oil Raceway Park. I thought the finale there last year was decent, but again, I did replace it for a track that I think was a little bit better. And then race number 13, Iowa Speedway. Of course, we all know what happened at this race last year. The most cautions out of any Summer Series race ever. I believe, 10 cautions or some crazy number like that, which is absolutely ridiculous. And that will happen on May 18th for the Iowa Corn 300. Now, if you notice a pattern between all those last three races I mentioned, all of these are actually in the Midwest, and I'll to call this portion of the schedule GSS Midwest. And this will happen from July 10th to July 18th, of course. Three very different tracks, 3 different times, 3 different conditions. And of course, Midwest summers are usually really, really hot. And this is where, in my opinion, the Summer Series schedule gets pretty hot in the season. So that'll be a good marketing ploy for hopefully this year. Then race number 14, we head back down to the southeast for the Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Caravelle 404. This is pretty much the same spot where it was last year on the schedule, just with a different race sponsor instead. That will happen on July 24th, still 82 laps. And then race number 15, another new track on the schedule, the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. This was the home of my first ever NR2003 victory back in 2018. Definitely glad to come back here. This will be for the Canadian Tire 250. This will replace Toronto's Canadian date on the schedule. So we still have 2 international dates this year, 1 in Mexico and, of course, 1 in Canada. That will happen on July 31st. And the race number 16, our last midweek race of the season, but also our lone dirt race of the season at Eldora. And just like last year, we'll have both a 15-lap heat race for the bottom 10 in points, and the top 5 finishers of that race will advance over to the 80-lap main event alongside the top 25 in points. So, if you're familiar, so it's the exact same format as last year's Eldora race, and that will happen on August 4th, again, our last midweek race of the season. And then race number 17, our final new track of the schedule, the Sawmill Speedway for the Glassdoor 250. And this replaces Old Spice's Day, and this is another Fantasy EA Sports road course in the schedule. And this will happen on August 8th. And then race number 18, another crown jewel, the Bridgestone Night Race. Of course, last year this race was in September, a week after the actual Cup race. But now moving this up approximately by a month to August, where the Bristol Night Race used to be in. And Bristol was actually surprisingly the least viewed Summer Series race of last year, which was like, really? It's Bristol. Why is no one watching it? So hopefully the August move hopefully improves viewership for Bristol. And plus, it's Bristol. It's going to be a good race. And the race number 19 will be at the Orlando International Speedway for the M&M's 400. Now, of course, Orlando is a very, very crazy, unpredictable track. No reason that would not carry over to this year's race. And of course, since Abu Dhabi's gone from the schedule, this is actually going to be the biggest Summer Series track going to go to this year, clocking in at 3 miles exactly. After that is our second bye week of the season. And much like the last bye week for Daytona, this is the bye week to get many of the Paint Kings prepared for race number 20, the Southern 500 at Darlington, returning back to his Labor Day spot. And unlike in real life, it's still going to be a throwback race. And I'm going to use a new version of Darlington Matt Baker 2020. So definitely look forward to that too. It's still going to be 85 laps, the longest Summer Series race of the year. And as for the throwbacks themselves, we're going to have something. And as for the throwbacks themselves, we're going to do something a little bit different this year. We're going to have a throwback theme, and the theme for this year will be first. So like first career wins, first championships, first starts, first poles, etc., etc. You get my point. And of course, in the bottom, your throwback does not have to follow the theme, but it's encouraged. So if you don't really want to, so if your throwback doesn't really follow the sort of first theme, you know, it's all right. You don't have to do it. Then race number 21, we head back to the 8 Bowl Super Speedway for our 5th Super Speedway race of the year. 8 Bowl is one of the more viewed races. The Super Speedways in general did very well last year in the Summer Series. Hopefully 8 Bowl will continue this trend. And then semi-finale, race number 22, returning to the Denver Motorsports Park. Denver did a pretty solid race last year. However, it's another race that has been showing down a little bit, down to 32 laps as opposed to, I think, 42 laps as compared to last year. So last year's was really long. This year's going to be a lot shorter. it'll happen on September 19th. Finally, race number 23, the Summer Series finale. Now you're thinking where it might be since IRP got moved to July. Well, it's none other than the Martinsville Speedway. That's right, Paperclip's going to host a finale here in the Summer Series for the STP 500. It will remain at the same lap count as last year, 100 laps, and will happen on September 25th. So definitely a race that's going to be pretty exciting, one for the ages. As not only an exciting race, which we saw in both the Summer Series last year and this past Winter Street Stocks race that happened last week, but hopefully for the Summer Series finale. So the last couple slides here, we got the deadlines. Of course, the Spring Showdown deadline will be on April 4th for your paint scheme for that race. Race 1 paint scheme, sponsor schedule, and team sign-up deadline will be on May 1st. So whatever paint scheme we're going to use for the first race, the sponsor schedule, and whatever team we're going to join, you have to have that done by May 1st. Which is a week before the opening race. If you have a specific paint scheme, if you want to run for a certain race, you gotta be sure. If you're running a specific paint scheme for a certain race, be sure to have it sent to me the week before said race. So, for instance, say you want to run a paint scheme at Atlanta, for instance. Be sure to submit to me the week before Atlanta, so I can actually put it in the game and get everything all situated. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, Daytona's paint scheme deadline will be on June 27th. Our Darlington's paint scheme deadline will be on August 29th. And one more thing here, other notes and important dates. Of course, the races will be pre-recorded and will premiere on this YouTube channel. The races will premiere at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Last year, I always did the races at 8 o'clock, but I'm going to try 7:45 this time. I was originally going to do 7:30, but these races take, again, a little longer for me to make compared to Winter Street Stocks. I mean, 15 minutes may not seem like a lot of time for these longer races, but those 15 minutes can mean a lot if these races actually premiere on time versus they don't. So 7:45 will be the starting time for these races this summer. And typically these races will be on Saturdays besides the holiday races like Darlington, Daytona, or if the Cup Series has a Saturday night race. Of course, also the 4 midweek races this year. Or if the Cup Series has a Saturday night race, that'll premiere on Sunday night of that week instead. Now, the driver signups will be on February 20th. That will be the time currently to be determined for that. I'll probably ask everyone on Discord what's a good sign-up time for me to open up the forms and everything. Which, by the way, I'm about to go over the forms after the slide. Team signups will be the following day on the 21st. Time for that will also be to be determined. Season opener, of course, May 9th at Armory Digital, and the Spring Showdown at Auto Club Speedway will be on April 11th. And of course, good luck to everyone planning to sign up and planning to compete here in the second ever Summer Series season. Now here's a quick little preview of the Google form for both the team signups and the driver signups for the Summer Series. So if you completed the ones from the Winter Street Stocks back in November, it's very, very similar to that. So of course you put your name here, what you want to be called. How do you pronounce your name from above? Because I need to kind of know how to pronounce it correctly. What car make you want to run? Chevy, Ford, Dodge, or Pontiac? What number you want to do, which say 66, I don't care. Discord name, just put whatever your Discord name is. Are you in the Discord server? If you're not, click that link there. Yes. YouTube name. Your sponsors, blah, blah, blah. And of course, what do you want your paint scheme to look like? What sponsors or whatnot. Put whatever there. Preferably, if you're basing it off a real life paint scheme, be sure to find like a Google image link of it or some sort of a link to it, because that'd be very, very helpful. And as for the team signup, it's pretty similar. Put whatever your Discord name is. Yes, for the Discord server. Are you in the Discord server? Yes. What would be the team name? Just put whatever there. The team owner's name, my bad. Then the team name after that. And then who your teammates, the car number, and then what car make is your team. So that's just a quick little preview of the form here. It's pretty similar to the Winter Street Stock sign-up forms back in November. So if you're used to that, you have no problem filling out these when they open up. And just like that, that'll wrap up the 2021 Golf Summer Series info and schedule review video. Hope you guys found this video informative and helpful to give an idea what will go on in the Summer Series starting this May, as well as the Spring Showdown that'll be on this April. Like most of my series, this series has been a long time in the making. And hopefully, just like last year, this pays off, and hope you guys will enjoy it starting this May. So I'm definitely looking forward to starting the series once again. And again, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the Winter Street Stocks finale next week at Oswego. I'll see you guys then.